Hi guys, welcome back to the channel with Toon and Lee here in Thailand, the Pawpang farm. And today, yes, it's not clickbait, for real, no joke. I'm not going to drink any alcohol whatsoever for not just a year, but for at least one whole year. Good news is I've already done one day. It was very, very easy. I'm not bragging, it's just that yesterday was New Year's Day and we were hungover anyway. So Toon is not aware of what I have pledged to do or not to do. But I thought it might be an idea, rather than me just keeping stum about it and doing it on my own. I thought there's about, I don't know, over 95% of you viewers are males, round about similar age to me. And we come from an era, certainly in Britain, and I know Australia like a beer as well. We come from a drinking culture. And I mean, my background of my drinking was, I started really, well, I think the first beer I stole from my dad's case of Abbott Ale that I found in the garage one day, and I sneaked a bottle of that out. Tasted absolutely gopping, I hated it, but I persevered. And I was off and running. It then further developed when I started playing rugby. You know, well, I was playing from the age of like 15, 16. And, you know, not making any excuses, just went hand in hand with that particular team sport and environment that, although we were obviously underage, we did start drinking. I played rugby for many, many years. I think the only few times that I stopped were due to sort of like long-term injuries, and then my first marriage. I think my ex-wife gave me an ultimatum: it's either the rugby or the fishing, but you can't do both. So once I got divorced, I was rugby and fishing and going back to the beer. So I've always drank. Excessively, certainly in my single years with the rugby lads. Wow, I mean rugby tours and pre-season. You know, when we weren't playing, but we were supposed to be getting fit. Well, we called it pre-season drinking, getting ready for the main season. So it was always there, and I certainly don't regret it. I mean, some of the blurred memories are just fantastic. You know, and some great friends along the way as well. I'm not making a very good case for knocking beer on the head, am I? I've had so many good. I think I'll just carry on. Birthdays and Christmases, you know, New Year, always bladdered. I don't know. It just always seemed the norm. Always. What is a really difficult question for most people, certainly as guys that have drank for the majority of our lives, would you class yourself as an alcoholic, or you had a drinking problem? I suppose that's more of an easier way to phrase it. I don't know. I've never got up in the morning and fancied a beer or any other type of alcohol. Certainly by the afternoon, I'm thinking, oh, a few more hours work, and then I can have a beer. I don't know. I really don't know. How much does it take for you to be classed as an alcoholic these days? I couldn't say. Is it one beer? If you need one beer a day, is that classed as being an alcoholic, or does it take 10 beers? I don't know. If it means you can't get through the day without some degree of alcohol, I suppose, yeah, I think I would say you were an alcoholic. Or you certainly had a drinking problem. So for me, the way I'm looking at it is, me and Toon lead a very healthy lifestyle here. But we do drink. Now, Toon, every year, she goes 3 months straight without a single drop of alcohol. But that's to do with her being a Buddhist. And for Buddhist Lent, 3 months, you don't touch it. this year I did a week with her. I think the year before I did 3 weeks with her, which doesn't sound a lot, but I do drink just about every single day, which sounds terrible. I know it does. But, generally speaking, I have 2 beers, 2 bottles of Chang. So as soon as the goats are fed and all the little chores are done and that first glass of beer is just, oh my God, it just tastes so good. And it's almost like I justify it to myself. Like, I've bloody earned this today, Lee. You've worked your nuts off. Now I'm going to sit down with the missus and have a quiet half an hour, just watching the goats and unwind with a beer. That's what I've been doing nearly every single day. Sometimes I won't fancy one, but generally speaking, I would say, yeah, every day I do that. I thought it might be a little bit awkward doing this video because it's talking about something that's very, very personal to you, and I don't really want something that's that I feel, I don't know whether it's the right word, dependent. It's the feeling that, okay, it's the initial first taste, but it's the feeling of unwinding. And I've been thinking to myself, well, Lee, why do you need to unwind at the end of the day? You're happier than you've ever been. You've got the best woman that you've ever met in your life. We got very, very few worries. We've got a few concerns, but generally speaking, life is absolutely brilliant for us. It's tiring, yes, and I think this is where it comes in. My brain associates a beer with relaxing, unwinding, de-stressing, because for years, certainly when I was an instructor on the road, I drink every single night. We were on expenses, so you get your steak, you get all that red meat every night if you wanted it. You'd have a couple of beers or a bottle of wine, and then you get up, start the next day all groggy, and you have a crap day at work or a challenging day at work. They weren't always crap, don't get me wrong, but you're on the road again. You're living out of a suitcase, and I just on it. Drank far too much. Certainly when Toon came back to Thailand to look after her dad, I upped it quite a bit. But I haven't got that excuse now. I can't think of any excuse that I should be dependent on having a couple of beers at the end of the day. Now, some of you may well be saying or thinking, bloody hell, Lee, you shouldn't stop everything in the world that's bad for you and everything in moderation. I've said that lots of times about lots of things. And that is true. But I don't want to be dependent on having this to get this. You know what I mean? Can I get that feeling without having those 2 bottles of beer or 3 bottles of beer? Or if we're going for it with a karaoke, 5 bottles of beer, and then I get up the next day and I'm like, oh my God, Toon, can you let the goats out? Even if you do that like once a month, I regret it the next day. And I don't like having regrets. So yeah, why not? Why not do it? Now, so it's just popped into my head, as these things do, guys. As I say, a lot of you, the sort of like same age bracket as me. Maybe you started drinking even earlier than me. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you came to the bar at 18, or was it 21 in the US? Sorry, Ed, if we come and visit you, I'm off the ale, mate. No problem watching you drink. I'll just be swimming and Toon will be playing on the motorbike. But no problem at all. I can still enjoy myself with having a beer. Or can I? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, won't it? I think I'm a pretty sad bugger if I can't enjoy life not having a beer. And I totally understand that I've done one day. And I'm not going to get all bloody preachy about this. I'm not going to turn into like an ex-smoker that's like, oh, smoking's terrible. Oh, no, you shouldn't be doing. Whatever, guys, most of the bloody world drinks, doesn't it? Oh, hang on. Most of the world Muslims. I'm sure, well, I know a couple of Muslims that have a cheeky pint or 2, or maybe more. So going back, here's something for you. If you want to join me on this quest It's like Jason and the Argonauts, isn't it? Then put in the comments below, sort of like, Lee, I'm with you. And then each time I do an update, I won't be doing loads of updates. Just let the I just let a bike go past. I think I'll do an update after the first week. Then after that, probably once a month, and I'll put it in its own separate playlist. And just not to sort of like say, oh, I've done another month, just chalk it off, it's piece of piss. It's really how it's affecting my life and maybe my mental state. Is there any improvements? And those sorts of things. What's the hardest thing about it? I mean, here, when we have the guys doing the building work, sometimes the guys don't drink, but generally speaking, at the end of a hard day's graft, we buy them a bottle of Laucow and a few nibbles, and we generally sit around watching the goats and having a giggle and drink for about an hour, and then they shoot off. And then that's normally it. We have got a bit of a routine that will now be broken. If Toon wants to carry on drinking, that's fine with me. She just bloody gives up just like that, no problem whatsoever. But I'm not going to really say anything to her about it. There's still some booze knocking around here a little bit. Normally before, if I was going to stop for a while, I'd neck that and then right tomorrow, start tomorrow. Done now. The gauntlet is laid down, and it will be completed. I don't find it daunting at all. I don't know why my mindset is different. So because before I've like said, oh, you know, I'm gonna not drink for a month or something like that, and after a week or two, Toon will say, oh, I'm just off to the shop. Do you want anything? I'll be like, no. Are you sure? No, okay, I'll have a beer, and then that's it. You just slip back into it again. So I don't know why it's different this time. Losing a very dear friend to us recently, which we touched upon before in a previous video, and someone else that's very, very dear to us is very ill as well at the moment. Yeah, I want to give my body and my mind, certainly my mind, a fighting chance to live this life as fulfilling as possible, and you know, to be able to cut the shackles free from beer or whatever your tipple is. That would be quite big for me. Quite big for me. The thing is, you know, when we go to Campang Pet for this and that, sometimes we stop off at a 7-Eleven. I get a sandwich. I know a sandwich gives me a bad stomach. Bread does not agree with me at all. But and it's the real plastic ham and cheese, and the real cheap, tacky, terrible stuff. But I just fancy it, and you know, afterwards I'm just like, Lee, why did you have that? Coffee. I know too much coffee is bad for you, but I like coffee. Do I like the kick from coffee? Well, for sure, yeah. But I like the taste, and that's the way I look at beer. I like the taste, but I like the feeling. So, can I get the same sort of like euphoria without having a couple of pints? Can I feel like I'm unwinding at the end of the day without having any alcohol in my system? I certainly hope so. I think definitely. Maybe it'll even get more so. That's what I'm really, really hoping for. And well, I don't know. In Chang, I think we pay 60 baht a bottle, so 2 bottles a day, 120 baht. What's that in a year? I don't know. It's got to be worth a few goats, isn't it? I need to get my calculator out. I'll do it on my editing and put it up on the screen. I'll probably see that I can buy about 10 goats. That'll make it absolutely a cinch not boozing for a year. At least a year. So if you want to challenge yourself, guys, and follow me on this journey, just pop it in the comments that you're giving it a go. And then each time I do a brief update, you can put in the comments how you're getting on. Oh, Lee, I couldn't hack it, mate. I did 7 hours. My missus was doing me head in, so I've got the Johnny Walker out or something. It's quite easy for me in that sense because Toon and I don't really row a lot. I mean, if I was doing this in the height of her hypothyroidism, I think it would be considerably more difficult than it's going to be. So that sort of thing doesn't come into it. I can now sing on the karaoke teetotal. I do not need any drink at all to burst into song. Although all our live streams have been under the influence of said alcohol. It's going to feel really, really strange to not have your beer blanket on, or your beer goggles on, or your Dutch courage. You know, we've got all these phrases of of effects of having a drink or two, and I'm looking for. Strange, isn't it? I'm looking forward to it. I watched something on YouTube in the wee small hours of this morning, and I don't normally sit in bed watching YouTube round about midnight, but there was a good reason, and it was to do with drunk people in the village, which is, I don't know, it's about 1.5 kilometres away. They were having karaoke, and I know we have karaoke, but in Thailand, karaoke is excessively loud, way too loud for the speakers to be able to handle it. The bass is like rocking the speakers. They'd started early and they went on till late. Even Toon moaned about it. Just to dull that out, I closed the windows and I was just watching this guy, and it was just about his life story. And it wasn't to do with alcohol at all. There was no mention of that at all. And the guy had, up to now, had led an incredible life. But it was about his struggles as a younger man and trying to fit in, and the sacrifices that he made. And it was really how he viewed challenges and failures. That was it. He said, failures and fuck-ups. He said you welcome them because you know you're pushing yourself. You know, when you fail at something, you ask why. You get to the bottom of why you failed. Your fuck-ups. Why did you make a mess of that? And how can you rectify it? Why this guy I thought was incredibly strong was he always pushed himself and thought struggling to some degree was a good part of his life. And I'm a little bit like that. If I'm not busy doing something, I don't feel happy. You know, I need to feel like I'm accomplishing something. Certainly day by day, or working day by day to accomplish something. Sometimes I'm not very good at doing the same thing every single day to achieve something 20 years down the line. I need to shorter time scale than that. You know, like the farm, we're 3 years now. We're just completing 3 years, and we're not far off where we want everything to be and how we want it. Now we're moving into the management side of things. If this was going to take another 10 years to get it all set up how we wanted it, that probably a bit too long for me. Another 10 years for everything to mature and get more streamlined. Great. So that's the sort of thing I mean. It's challenge yourself. I dare say this will be a challenge this year, but I'm ready for it. It can't be harder than leaving your family in UK, holding down a long-term relationship and stressful job at the same time, and then working 12 plus hours a day in the searing heat for next to no money. It can't be harder than that, can you? It's just a couple of bottles of beer a day. You can't do that, Lee. There's no hope for me, is there? So that's it. That's definitely enough now. So pretty over 20 minutes on here. I'll have to try and edit some of it out. That's it. Thanks as always for watching. I look forward to your comments on this one because it's it's a subject that, whether we like it or not, guys, it applies to the majority of us. I know there's a few of you that do watch the channel, that follow us, and you don't drink at all, and you haven't for quite some time. But the vast majority of us, I'm pretty sure, we do enjoy a beer or three at the end of the day. So let's see what happens, eh? Well, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to be victorious. I won't fail you or myself. How's that? It's like my t-shirt. It's one of my last few t-shirts from the UK. Look, everything's so bad. I see myself in the videos and I'm like, Lee, you need to get some new t-shirts. But most of them are made out of plastic out here, and your skin can't breathe. So I can't believe it's not butter and the dog licking his arsehole. This is one of my sister's t-shirts that she bought me. She got some great ones. I don't know where she finds them online, but yeah. Thanks, Sam. There's no way I'm throwing it out. It's not quite as bad as my pants with my ball bag hanging out. See you later.